Hello, everyone. We are here once again this October for Black Girl Magic Book Chat, October/Halloween edition. If you have never watched one of my videos or if you haven't seen one of my videos since March, um, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Larissa, and I'm the African American Resource Center for the Tulsa Library. And for the past few years, I have been doing these book chats in October and in March for Women's History Month. And in October, I read books by Black authors, African American authors in the genres of thriller, mystery, horror, that sort of category, because it is not a genre that I think many Black Americans or Black people across the diaspora are represented in, or shall I say, maybe not represented, but they don't get that same hype because there are a lot of authors. As I'm learning, as I've been doing this the past few years, I'm hearing names I've never heard before. So the authors are out there. So this is just a way for me to highlight those. I know in recent years with the works by Jordan Peele and Ryan Coogler, just recently with Sinners, we are starting to see more Black and African American people kind of come to the forefront. But those are movies, right? These are books that I'm reading, and so I want to be able to highlight those authors. And it's an excuse to read at work because, contrary to popular belief, librarians don't get to read at work. So, every Friday this month, I'll be sharing my thoughts on a book for you by a Black or African American author in preparation for one of my favorite Halloweens. One of my favorite holidays, Halloween. So, let's dive right into it for this first week. I like started off with a bang. So this book is not new. So it's My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. If not, I apologize and I'll make sure I practice that pronunciation. Oyon, o, Oyinkan. I'm gonna get it. I promise. But this is not a new book. It's a book that I've kind of seen around a lot for the past few years. Um, so I have been wanting to read it for a while in Grapevine Literary Club, which is a literary club through the Rudy Still Library where I work. It they read it for their September book of the month, and so I picked it up and I said, you know what? It's here on the shelf. Let me go ahead and get it. And y'all, I'm actually really, really glad that I did. Because, like I said, I had wanted to read it for a long time because it's the title that really got me. I am, a millennial woman, and we love the true crime, right? Like we hear about the popularity of true crime podcasts. I contribute to that popularity. So the title itself got me. And I picked it up because I saw it on the shelf again and I was like, perfect opportunity. And I'm glad I did. Okay. So the story follows Corday, a nurse in Nigeria. She is the oldest of two sisters. And when the book opens, she gets a call from her younger sister, Ayola, because Ayola has killed her boyfriend after he allegedly tried to attack her. And as big sisters apparently do, Corday goes to help Ayola get rid of her boyfriend. And we find out for the third time. From there, y'all, the novel, so it's told from Corday's perspective. And so from that opening scene, opens with a bang, obviously. No pun intended, because that's not how he goes. But it opens, you're like, what? And so it is from Corday's perspective, her point of view. And so she gives us a little bit of background on them while they follow the aftermath of this death. This murder, we learn about the relationship between Corday and Ayola. Excuse me. Ayola is this beautiful younger sister, while Corday is the, for lack of a better word, invisible one. Iola can do no wrong, okay? In fact, when she does do wrong, it is often Corday who is blamed for not helping her, for not showing her the right way, not encouraging her to make the right decisions. Iola is younger and, again, like I said, beautiful. And so she kind of moves from guy to guy, man to man, using them because they are just so enamored with her. And she knows it because there's a line in the book where Corday has said it, and then Iola kind of, what's the word? Like verifies it essentially. But it's because she is beautiful, you know. That's all it is. They don't really care about the rest of it. She gets a pass at life. People, men especially, refuse to believe any bad word about her, and it's their downfall. We see it really come to a head when Iola starts dating the man that Corday has a crush on, a doctor at the hospital where she works. It is then that we really begin to see a bit of the rivalry between the sisters and the frustration that Corday holds because she's required to take care of her sister, even if it means throwing dead bodies in the ocean. This story is a thriller because as we see Iola get to know new men, we wonder what's going to happen to them. It's a thriller because, and mystery too, I guess, thriller mystery. It's a thriller because we wonder how far Corday will go to help her sister. Even with this rivalry, right? We see this, or even because of it, right? We see this frustration that Corday holds because she's required to take care of her sister. We see that she's frustrated because she's throwing dead bodies in the ocean, and her sister is then going on TikTok or Snapchat or whatever social media site Corday mentions, and is posting pictures a week after her boyfriend is dead. Um, But again, it's more than that, right? Because it's about the relationship between sisters and how far two siblings will go to protect their loved ones. I have a younger sister, um, and you always question how far will you go for your siblings. I have a younger sister, and I've gone as far as like letting her, move in with me after we, didn't live together for 10 years or 15, however long it was. But I hope that she never does anything to make me have to answer that question, right? Like, how far will you go? This book is also set in Nigeria, which I think is a little bit important for understanding the relationship between the sisters. And not even just the relationship between the sisters, but kind of everything that's going on outside of their relationship, right? Because obviously things that happen outside of what's going on with them affects their day to day. So it's like I think that setting um, really kind of shows more in a sense. So not only is it set in Nigeria, they also come from kind of a well-off family, which is another layer to their relationship. At one point, both of them are questioned by the police, but because they come from a little bit of money, and because of Iola's beauty, and because of the implied corruptness and lackadaisical attitude of the police in Lagos, they're never charged with anything. And then I think that the fact that they are in Nigeria also is pushed or pushes that sibling aspect. Corday thinks that she is responsible for Iola because she has been told that her entire life. Um, Her mother especially has pushed this notion on her so much so that Corday is almost compelled to do for her sister. Like almost like she feels physically pulled to do for her sister. The emphasis on family responsibility, I think in Nigerian culture, is pushed so heavily on Corday. Her wants and her needs are pushed to the side because, as the eldest, it is her duty, right, to support her sister, to take care of her sister, to be there for her. And the question is always like, yes, duty and that responsibility is important. I feel some sense of responsibility for my little sister and my little brother, but and my other siblings too. But serial killing, right? And I think that is what makes this book fascinating to me. I always read kind of the reviews of the books that I read, just because I like to know what other people think about them. And as always, you got some mixed reviews for this book. One of the reviews that I saw that I did not agree with was that they thought that this book was simple. The chapters are short. The diction is not fluffy or particularly complex. Like the author's not kind of taking you on a trip, so to speak, with her language. But I think that's why it works. Braithwaite is telling this story from the perspective of the person who's living it. And the way that Corday operates is in a linear sort of way. Like, not that she's simple, because she's a smart girl, smart woman, and I'm not saying that she's simple minded, but for her, things are black and white. They are what they are. And I think that's why it works. Some stories aren't meant to be overcomplicated because sometimes they're not. Sometimes people don't think. Sometimes, like I said, it's just black and white. And so she thinks that, okay, my first duty is to my sister and to my family, period. And that is what this book gives us. And even at the end, and I think that's what makes it thrilling, right? In the end, there's assumptions to be made about what will happen, almost at the expense of Corday. I like this book, y'all. If you're interested in it, read it, because I would be interested in knowing what you think about it. I try not to give too much away because it's not a very long book, and this is the large print. So, like, it's not a very long book. And so if I say too much, I give too much. But I'm hoping that you really, I capture those things that focus on sibling duty almost, that family responsibility. And kind of really, I think that's just the main question of this book. How far will you go to save or protect the people that you love? How far would you go? So like I said, let me know what you think if you happen to read it. That's it for this week. Next week, I will be chatting about a book called The Getaway by Lamar Giles. I think it's his name. It's a YA novel that I am describing as sort of. Do y'all remember the movie Pleasantville with Reese Witherspoon? It's kind of like Pleasantville meets Jordan Peele's is Us, because there's some carnival pieces, meets kind of V for Vendetta. So I'm excited to share. I'm like halfway through right now, so I'm super excited to share what I think when I'm done. And pick it up now, and then that way you can also read it by next week, and we can talk about it. Okay, that is all for me. Until next week, have a good day.